How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Cardborn. We're going to be doing another video today about bulk. I've done a couple videos about it, but it's one of the best things in the hobby for making money, and a lot of people overlook it. Had a comment kind of asking what to look for, and with Pokemon, it's a little bit more simple, but Magic can be more complicated. So we're kind of going to do a more deep dive video on what to look for, what to grab, and kind of the mathematics of everything behind it. So a lot of people think bulk is worthless, it's just commons, there's no money in it. And this is a big mistake in the hobby. I have found a good bit of cards in bulk that are worth money. Now, that's where a lot of stores make money. Now, you're probably not going to find a $500 card. Now, you can, but you're probably not going to. But I found my highest card value I found in bulk was $80, and that was $80 on TCG Player. That was no markup. That was just flat market price. It was like 81.70 something. But what you are looking for is small wins. If it's the $2 cards, the commander staples, reverse hollows that someone needs to finish a master set, you might come across, 500 151 reverse hollows that you can make a complete set of reverse hollows. Now you can do a variation list that, or you can sell the set and make money off that. So that's going to be today's video, kind of walking through the ups and downs of buying bulk, what to look for when going through it. I used to list everything, but now I'm at so many listings, now I nitpick a lot more about it. So sit back, grab a drink, let's get into it. So, kind of touching back up on it, everyone wants expensive cards, no one wants the boring stuff that's a lot of work. That's why there's this opportunity, and more people are doing it, so it's a little harder to come across. But to kind of get into the mathematics, so for Magic, I generally paid 95% of the time $10 per thousand. For common and uncommon, sometimes it'll be, rares and mythics mixed in there, but that's generally my buying rate. Now, sometimes if it's a bigger collection, or they know it's older stuff or it's better, then I'll go up and depending on that. I don't need to find a $500 card. So for this example, we're going to be talking about buying 10,000 cards for $100. Break down the math. If I find 20 cards worth $5, right then and there, I'm broke even. Everything else is pure profit. Now that's not assuming I do any kind of markup on them cards. That's just flat market price. You find $43 cards. Okay, now you're already in a profit. You find $101 cards. Now that you probably want to up because of your floor price, but you've already made your money back in any of them scenarios. And then you still have thousands and thousands and thousands of cards left. The business isn't built on jackpots. Now, you can hit a jackpot every now and again and get lucky, but that's luck. You want consistency. That's the big thing that you're always looking for. Consistency is key. So, kind of get into Pokemon bulk and what I look for and what I pick, and kind of the categories I do. Now, you're not going to find this often in normal bulk. It does happen, but probably not often. Is EXs, GXs, Vs, VMAX, V Stars, Radiants, Amazing Rares, Aces, IRs, SIRs, if you somehow come across those, Gold cards, even luckier, Rainbow cards, full art cards. Now, those you can come across because there'll be the cheap trainers or full art EXs that are just dirt cheap. You find those every now and again. Promos or stamps. That is a big one. A lot of people, when they're going, especially with older bulk, they'll have a McDonald's promo or a GameStop promo, whatever promo it might be, that they miss that little stamp. Like here's a Pokemon Go card, right here. People, this ain't worth nothing, but people will miss a little stamp like that, and that adds a lot of value to a card. And anything with a stamp is always worth checking. So, kind of getting into hollows, reverse hollows, on why that's not just normal bulk. Now, that carries a premium when buying, but how you kind of break reverse hollows down, there's a couple different ways. You can do variation listings if you have almost a lot of the reverse hollows from a set. That's a great variation listing opportunity. You can do a bundle listing with the complete set of, say, 151 reverse hollows. That would be a great seller. Or a complete set of reverse hollows and hollows. Or a complete set of, all the commons and uncommon. However you want to do it. There's different ways to do it. But reverse hollows we always saw. People are always finishing their master sets. They want a complete binder. They might want, EV, or they might be just looking for all these cute cards, or whatever it may be. They will need the reverse hollows. And you can sell these, reverse hollows for $250 and up. So, very depends. Now, trainers, this surprises a lot of people, especially if you don't play Pokemon. I don't play Pokemon, so I'm not the most up-to-date person with what's playable. I try to learn and keep up to date by watching videos and kind of watching what's going on. But things like Ultra Balls, Rare Candy, Boss's Orders, Professor's Research, Nest Ball, Buddy Buddy, Iono, Arven, I believe that's from Obsidian Flames and base set Scarlet and Violet. Just a normal trainer, nothing crazy. I believe he's like a buck or two just for a normal trainer. You don't have to memorize these cards. I don't. What I normally do is, beginning of the month, I'll put a list together of what I'm seeing of trainers that I know in the past and trainers that are coming up and I'll get that online. I'm not the guy who plays Pokemon. I don't know that. So I'll do my research and put a list together so when I'm going through, I kind of know. The other way you can go about it, popular Pokemon, Charizard, Pikachu, Eevee, any evolution, Umbreon, Leafeon, Jolteon, etc., Mew, Mewtwo, Rayquaza, Gengar, Lucario, Greninja, Gardevoir. Any of them cards of a popular Pokemon, even if it's not a foil, hollow or reverse hollow, they will sell. People will come through your shop and they will buy every one of a specific Pokemon you have. I had an order where someone bought 15 different Pikachus. There was common cards, nice full art cards, reverse hollows, everything in between, anything that was Pikachu. Older sets, so Black and White, X and Y, Sun and Moon, early Sword and Shield. Now, anything Sword and Shield, if you can get your hands on, is nice, but them earlier sets are better. Vintage Wizards, if you can get that stuff. Now, that's a little harder to get in bulk, but you can find it. That deserves a more thorough look through. I'm kind of comping almost a lot more stuff. Touching back into promo cards and stamps. So, GameStop, Best Buy, Pokemon Center, if you're lucky enough to find those leagues. World Championship cards. Now, they're not playable cards, they're banned in tournaments, but those do generally carry a little bit more of a premium. Sometimes, now, if it's a rare card, that they're actually cheaper because of the stamp, because they're more mass produced. Pre-release cards, McDonald's, holiday calendars, Costco's, ETBs. So promos do carry money, and then they also are one of the cards that will kind of go up a lot quicker than others. So, and then also the accessories. So the coins, the dice, the pins. A lot of people just give these to you if you buy a lot of their bulk. They just want it gone. That's one thing to kind of look for. So kind of touching back up, hollows and reverse hollows are always good to have, and those you could probably just honestly list depending on what stage you are. Otherwise, popular Pokemon, playables, sets, and if you have a lot of cards and you don't want to have all these listings, the variation listings are massive. You can quickly combine a lot of cards into one variation listing, so it saves you in the listing. So if you don't have a lot of listings on eBay, it's one or two listings, so it saves you a lot of that, condenses it down to one, and it's also a much better buying experience for people. I haven't had a lot of luck on it, but a lot of people do. So they can come to your shop, see, oh, hey, he's got a 151 variation listing, and they can buy out every card they need. And people will do that. So that's good about Pokemon Bulk. Magic is unlike Pokemon because commons matter, uncommons matter. Commander changes a lot. So Magic Bulk, in my opinion, is more valuable just in general because you don't need nothing crazy. Kind of getting into it. So for rares, I pull every rare. Everywhere I will pull out of it. Rares generally sell for more. And you can also, if you don't feel like dealing with them, now they do generally have a higher dollar amount and they sell better. But even if you don't feel like dealing with them, you can sell those to other bulk buyers for 30, 40 bucks per thousand. So that is a good thing to do if you're not listing it. Mythics, always pull. Those are generally money, and once again, people pay 10 cents per mythic. So for whatever reason, if you're not listing them, if you want to just quickly make your money out of them, pull them out of the lot and then sell them to somebody else, I would list them. But if you don't want to do that, you can sell them for like 10 cents per thousand. Foils, special foils sell good, especially the older kind of retro flame, or whenever they do retro border stuff. That stuff's always good. Commander staples. So kind of getting into Commander and talking about what EDH is. So if you're new to Magic, EDH is called Commander, is the most popular casual format of Magic. There's the Standard, which is a 60 card deck. There's plenty of ways to play, but Standard and Commander are the two big ones. You're building a 100 card deck built around one legendary creature, that's your Commander. Since you can only run one copy of most cards, players are constantly buying singles. So in the 60 card Standard, you can run multiple copies of cards. So Commander is one copy of each card. So people are buying, always, every one of their decks almost always has a Sol Ring, Arcane Signet, Cultivate, Beast Within. Those are kind of more staple cards. And that, like, the Sol Rings, I will pull out of anything. Those are always more than $2. Like, always, and they will sell for a good price. So, the word staple in Commander is more of a card that fits into hundreds or even thousands of Commander's decks. So, Sol Ring fits into any Commander deck. I've yet to see one where a Sol Ring isn't a good buy or a good thing to have. So staples, you have Sol Ring, Arcane Signet, Command Tower, Swiftfoot Boots, Lightning Greaves, Wayfarer's Bubble, Skull Clamp. These are just some. There's a lot. And then you get into subcategories. So Ramp in Magic, if you're new to Magic, is... So Commander games are slower than Standard just because of the build-up. So Ramp is... It builds up your mana. The more mana you have, the more creatures, spells you can cast, the more stuff you can do. So there's a lot of stuff in the ramp that you're looking for. Cultivate, Nature's Lure, 3 Visit, Rampant Growth, Farseek, and then Olden Rings and kind of Arcane Signets, Mind Stone, Talisman Signets. All these things are ramp cards that will sell quick. Card draw. Now you have a lot of decks that you're drawing more cards instead of just one. You gain life on card draw. Your opponent loses life. All these different things. So Harmonize, Brainstorm, Ponder, Factor Fiction, Mystical Remora, Ristic Study. All these things are kind of examples of card draw cards that people love and buy a lot of. And if you're buying bulk and someone doesn't pick it before you, those cards you can find pretty often. Removal, a lot of decks have removal. I would say most old decks should have it. And there's different, so for the different colors of Magic, there's different ones. So you have Swords to Plowshares, Path to Exile, Feed the Swarm, Go for the Throat, Chaos Warp, Beast Within. There's plenty of them for the different colors. So everyone's favorite when you're playing Magic, if you're a Magic player, I know that's your favorite kind of category right here, board wipes. Don't you love them? I know I do. But they sell. If it's Wrath of God, Blasphemous Act, Farewell, Cyclonic Rift, all these things, they sell. Tutors. Now this can be money. Just anything basically with the word tutor. Demonic Tutor, Worldly Tutor, Mystical Tutor, Enlightened Tutor, Fabricate, any of them kind of things. Let's say search for your library for whatever it may be. And those sell pretty good. So kind of mana fixing, so lands kind of that have multiple different colors to it. Command Tower, Exotic Orchard, Path of Ancestry. These are better lands than most, so these will sell. Now, with Pokemon, energies generally aren't worth anything, unless they're, hollow or they're older, and even the old ones ain't really worth anything. Lands, even if it's a common land, anything with snow on it generally sells good. But check your lands and check your tokens. Tokens and lands for Magic, people think aren't worth a lot of money. And it doesn't have to be a foil, it doesn't have to be a full art land. Everybody needs lands, and people have specific artworks they like. They'll pay the money for them. Or if you have tokens sell, grab them. If you have them in your bulk, they're a little harder to list sometimes because the scanners aren't always the best at identifying them, but they're worth it. So, kind of the different themes and types of cards. Dragons. I list, doesn't matter what dragon it is, if it's a dragon, I list it. Silvers. Elves, goblins, zombies, vampires, angels, demons, dinosaurs, merfolk. These are popular creatures for different decks, like dinosaurs, dragons. All these things are popular. People love, they will build them. legendary creatures. So that would be your commander. Now you can have more legendary creatures in the deck, but your commander has to be a legendary creature. So those have kind of more sellability because people might just find something they think is a funny legendary creature and build off it, or it might be a good one. They might think it's dumb and just build it. It might be fun, whatever it may be. Those deserve a second look. Even if it isn't expensive today, it can go up. A new set releases, that legendary card now gets synergy with something else. That card is massive now. Some mechanics. Hey guys, I don't know what happened there. My recording software kind of ran into the issue. So this is going to be combined with that other video. I'll edit it into one. So if I'm not the best with it, that's kind of what happened. I don't know what happened there. But the synergies, so a new set can come out and that can make the synergies of a legendary creature, any card spike. Happens all the time. Some old card that was worth 20 cents, 10 times the value. It just goes up. And there's no real way to know, it happens. So some popular mechanics in Magic. Tokens, treasures, anything that creates something. 1/1 counters or -1/1 counters. Proliferate, landfall, cascade, blink, sacrifice, spellslinger. All these are popular words and kind of keywords in Magic. And if what I just said sounds like I just made up the words, that's totally okay. When I was new to Magic, it scared me too. You can watch kind of a video on more of this stuff to go more in depth about every specific kind of thing and what to look for. This is more broad, but also going into the details without making it an hour-long video. So, colorless cards. So with Magic, your cards generally have color, red, blue, green, whatever it may be. And then you have cards that are colorless mana. And these can fit into any deck, so don't ignore them. If they're artifacts, whatever they may be, they can fit into literally any deck. So make sure you keep that. So why commons matter? In Pokemon, common is usually bulk. In Magic, a common card can be worth $3, an uncommon card can be worth 20, 30, 40, 50, and even common cards can be worth that. And a mythic card can be worth 30 cents. The rarity doesn't mean anything. Now, in Pokemon, an SIR is always going to be money. A common generally isn't money, unless it's old or something unique. Commander is one of the biggest reasons why Magic bulk is worth money, because people are just buying, and there's no way to know what's worth money, what's not worth money. Never assume that rarity equals value. So, from kind of my personal advice and my experience, so when I was first starting buying Magic collections, I made the mistake of trying to only pull rarest mythics and stuff that I thought was of value, and I wasn't thinking of all the different formats. And I still probably do miss stuff. Now you can scan the whole thing and make sure you're not missing anything, but there's a lot to it and a lot of staples in Magic that make it harder to go through. Pokemon's easier. And then the more you do it with Magic, the more you get used to it. Like some of those staple cards I listed and mentioned, those are a good way to tell. Now there might be some that I missed, and I know there are some that I missed. But the more you do it, the better you get at spotting stuff. And it's okay to be slow when you're first starting. I'm still not the fastest there is. Take your time, look stuff up. If you're not sure, put a pile where you think, hey, I think these cards could be money. And then when you're done going through the lot, if you have a scanner, just scan those cards real quick and see. It's a lot easier to scan a pile of a couple hundred or even 1,000 cards versus, 10, 20,000 cards. Much, much, much quicker to do that, to go through, and instead of doing the whole collection, just doing, what you think is worth money. And then the nice thing is once you sift through it, you find a bulk buyer. I would recommend trying to find a bulk buyer as soon as you can. So when you sift through the bulk and you pick it down to what you want, there's people out there that will, on TCG Player, will buy all bulk and they just sell cards, 15 cents and above. And that might be what they do. So people will buy the bulk from you for either what you paid or more. A lot of people will pay more. Or what you can do is you can sell lots of bulk on eBay and sell, 1,000 commons for X price and say you guarantee 10 rares or 10 mythics, whatever it may be, or so many foils. That's another way to offload bulk, because the one thing you will just come across a lot of bulk eventually. Now, at the beginning, you're probably saying, well, what do you mean? I can barely come across bulk. So, but you will build it up over time. It happens. So it comes and goes, but you will build it up and you will want a way to move it. In conclusion, the big thing I want to talk about is bulk isn't about getting lucky. It's about recognizing opportunity. Every collection teaches you something and helps you make every box go by faster. Every card you look up builds up knowledge. Every time now you were stuck at the beginning, you'll get better. Eventually you can spot valuable cards without even thinking about it. You'll just be, and you automatically just kind of like a flow state. You're just going through, oh, this is money, that's money, this is money. And that's when bulk becomes fun. And honestly, going through bulk cards is one of my favorite parts about running the business because it's the most profitable. And once you get good at it, and I still have lots to learn, it's enjoyable. So, and speaking about enjoyable, if you enjoyed today's video and learned something, I'd really appreciate if you guys hit the subscribe button. This is, documenting Cardborn and everything I'm going through, from buying collections, selling on eBay, to making mistakes. And I do plan on doing a video, a more long-term video, about an hour-long probably, of breaking down a collection from start to finish. By, raw bulk on the table that I didn't touch, to sifting through it, listing it, to identifying the cards, pricing it out, and then putting it in inventory. That'll be the plan for that. I also was lucky enough to recently just pick up my first comic book lot, so I'll be doing a video on this, going through that. I'm trying to find the best way to quickly list that and get accurate prices on that because they fluctuate so much. So that'll be in the works soon too. But so leave a comment down below what your best bulk find is. I'm curious what you guys have found out there. I'd love to hear your stories. And if you want to keep learning alongside others and just kind of talk anything TCG, join the Cardborn Discord. Link is in the description. Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Have a safe day.